Hello everybody, today I wanted to introduce you to a special friend of mine. I call him Charlie and he lives in this box. He's not an animal and he's not a person. He's actually a musical instrument. Can anybody guess what he is? I'll show you maybe. Everybody, meet Charlie. Charlie is an instrument called a cello. If you want to say the long word, it's actually called a violoncello, but I just call it a cello. Now, this is my cello. Is it big or small? Big or small? The cello is big. It's almost as big as me. If I stand it down, it's probably bigger than lots of you. And because the cello is big, do you think it makes a high sound or a low sound? The cello makes quite a low sound because it's so big. There is one more instrument that is bigger than a cello, and that's the double bass, and that's very low. But a cello is a bass instrument, which means it makes a low sound. It's also, as well as being a bass instrument, it's a string instrument. And I'll show you why. Here, you can see that the cello has strings. Can you count how many strings a cello has? Why don't you count with me? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. A cello has 4 strings. So, bass instrument, a string instrument with 4 strings. I'll also show you. It has this wooden part here that holds the strings up. This is called the bridge. If I just move this, you can probably see why it's called a bridge, because it looks a bit like a bridge. It also has these beautiful holes here. This is where the sound comes out from. And up here, this part, it's all squirrely, round like a snail. This is called the scroll. And these are the tuning pegs. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my cello. Now, it's quite difficult to play a cello standing up, so I need to sit down. But in order to sit down, there's a really, really cool thing about a cello, which is, I'll show you, down underneath here. Now, so that I can play it sitting down, I need to take this out. This is called the spike, and it's quite sharp, so I have to be careful not to jab anybody with it. But there we are, and I rest that on the floor while I play so I can sit down. So that's the spike. You can see it's the sharp pointy bit at the end of the cello. Alright, so I'm going to put it on the floor and sit myself down. There we are. Now we're almost ready to play. There's one other thing I need to play it. I could just play it like this, just with my hands, but you might have seen some musicians play also with this. This is called a bow. A bow. And I'll just show you. It's made up of lots of hairs here. If I loosen it, actually, you can see probably better. It's actually made up of lots of hair, typically from horsehair. I don't really want to touch it, but you see all of these fine hairs. And that's what I'm going to use to play the strings. Now, the cello has high strings and low strings. We're going to start with the low one. The first one is a C string. It's very low. And you can sound a bit scary, a bit like this. And then the next string is called the G string. It's also quite low, but it can sound very beautiful and a bit sad maybe sometimes. So that's the G string. And the next string up is the D string. It's a kind of medium string, and it's usually quite a happy sounding sort of string, so maybe we can play, see if you know this one. highest string that the cello has is the A string, and it starts off quite high, so it starts like this. Can go higher, even higher, even higher, all the way to the top. So that's the cello going from very low to very, very high. Alright, I can also play without the bow. I'll put it down for a minute. And then it sounds quite quiet. I can pluck the strings like this. Did you recognise that song, children? Would you like to play it again? And this time you can sing along with me. I'll play it with the bow so you can hear better this time. Ready? I'm just going to move this out of the way. Here we go. Very nice singing, children. Alright, and maybe let's do one last song. Do you know the song Frère Jacques? Or Panie Janie? Or in German it's Bruder Jakob? If you know the words, try singing along with me as I play. Very nice singing. I hope you managed to sing along to all of that. So, just to recap, do you remember what the name of my special instrument is? And do you remember how many strings my instrument has? Do you remember the name of this with all the hair? And what about the name of this part here? Let me know if you can remember them. Maybe you can play the video back and watch again. Anyway, that's all for now. See you soon. Bye.